in the end, we have the choice at any second with whatever has happened to live a great life and to become an example for others.
Marion is a French-German writer, actress, and dream coach. She creates conscious films which reimagine female role models, celebrate diversity, and promote a holistic culture of filmmakers. This year, Marion has written an incredible 4 books, including a self-help book called Wild Creator, a feature movie, and 2 TV series pilots, for which she's won funding and been shortlisted for awards. Marion's all-women theatre company, Blauhauch, won top 10 West End shows in London in 2018, and she also teaches creative writing at university. And Marion is a dream coach. You will hear about how she harnesses the potential to listen to our soul through dreams and how this practice has unleashed her bottomless well of creativity. You're listening to Going Conscious, the podcast where we discover new ways to live a more conscious life of fulfillment and freedom. Each week, I speak with entrepreneurs, academics, and changemakers who have made big transformations, left unfulfilling lives behind, and found meaning in this new world where purpose drives success. Let's get inspired to live our unique journeys to the fullest. Let's explore the impact we want to make and deepen our understanding of ourselves, each other, and this beautiful world around us. Live your freedom. I'm your host, Nikki Trott. I'm excited to bring you this episode with Marion. We were introduced by the wonderful Carmela Sternberg, who I interviewed in episode 1 of Going Conscious. Marion is featured as a dream coach practitioner on Carmela's website, Mama Wellbeing, and that is the capacity in which we met. I had a dream coaching session with Marion, my first, during which I confirmed my decision to make this podcast, even with everything else I had going on with my coaching and consulting business. It felt like a calling to make and share Going Conscious with you all, and I'm so happy I did. It's so rewarding to read reviews and messages about how these conversations are helping to change people's lives. So thank you for your love and sharing. And thank you, Marion, for the amazing session. In this episode, we talk about how to find answers in the theta state of our dreams, how to rewrite your own story, stop running after love, nurture conscious friendship, and how to tune into your soul's radio frequency. We discuss the importance of trust, how to write from a place of positive vibrations, and how success attracts success. Listen to the end as we travel from the spiritual and dream world to Marion's highly productive creative writing process and incredible film and TV projects. Now, let's get to the episode. Marion, welcome to Going Conscious.
Thank you, Nikki. It's my pleasure to be here.
I'm very happy to be talking to you. So Marion and I actually met because I was introduced to Marion as a dream coach. And I had no idea what dream coaching was, and did a dream coaching session with Marion, which was absolutely incredible and really deep work. And then since then discovered all of the other incredible things she's doing as a writer, as an actress, founding an all-women theatre company and more, which we'll hear all about. But I thought maybe we should just start, as our relationship started with dream coaching, Marion, with a little intro to what that actually is for listeners who don't know.
Yeah, so thank you for this lovely intro, and it's nice to talk about the dream coaching first because that's actually most present in my work, and it's actually flowing into all other areas of my work. And the dream coaching part is also my going conscious. This is how I went conscious through my dreams. So the dream coaching for me is like a guided intro into the theta state where you are dreaming, where the magic is happening, when the subconscious can finally speak and the busy mind can rest. And in this dream state that I guide my clients into, they can find all the answers that they need on a specific subject. So the answers that we don't have readily accessible in the beta state, we have it in the theta state where we are aligned with who we truly are, aligned with the soul, aligned with the answers that we need on all that we need to know, basically. So this is a little intro into the dream coaching. And so the coaching is different from, I would say, quote unquote, normal coaching, because it doesn't happen in a face-to-face conversation where the beta state makes the decisions. No, we allow the questions that arise to be answered in the theta state, in the dream state.
And how do you get your clients to that dream state?
So there are many ways to get my clients to that dream state. I always take, basically, I feel into the vibration that they're in when we start to speak. And depending on where they're at and how far away they are from relaxing, I have different methods to get them into that state. And the best is actually to allow the busy mind, when someone comes with a busy mind, to be completely present and accepted. And so if you could imagine that every thought you think, every thought that is racing through your brain helps you to relax. So it's taking everything that is there as a means to relax, or as a tool to relax, instead of pushing things away in order to relax. It's embracing all that is there as a reason to relax. And once what's there is being transformed, so it's almost like a little alchemy process where two things that are separate are brought together. So the busyness of the mind and then the desire to relax, and then they become one, and everything is like integrating. So the body can find its place, the mind can find its place, the heart can find its place, and then the theta state arises. It's almost like an invitation that from within the answers come. I use a lot of shamanic tools too, because I've been working shamanically for the past 4 years. So there is the great desire for all of us to combine our physical body with our spiritual body in this process. And the best metaphor to use in that sense is to connect very deeply into the earth, to the center of the earth, as well as to the center of the sky and the universe, and bringing that power we have to ground with the power to expand. So it's a very grounded expansion that this theta state brings about. So people can feel safe, held, loved, and at the same time expansive, open for the new, and ready to receive.
Amazing. I love how you describe actually using the busyness of the mind to help you to relax or help your clients relax. And when I experienced this dream coaching with you, I really had no idea what to expect. The recommendation came from a friend who I really trust, so I just went for it without really knowing. And it was so amazing for me that I was able to so quickly enter into this state and be guided by you through my thoughts, and just I felt completely in flow, and the result was very clear decisions around my business. There was a specific decision that I needed to make that I brought to you, and then also a bit more of a deeper sense of coming to understand where some of my motivations came from. So just from one session, I was really amazed. But I wanted to pick up on, you mentioned, Marion, how dreams are what helped you to enter into your conscious journey personally. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes. So it actually started on the backside, the flip side of the coin. Let's call it this way. It started with a whole loads of nightmares. So I was really going through terrible nights for a long, long time. And I didn't really know what to do about it, because nobody really taught me how to handle the emotions that would come in the morning with such strong, vivid images, feelings, thoughts. So my day was influenced by my night, and my night was influenced by my day. And suddenly, as I realized that I can no longer bear it, I'd rather be awake all the time than to fall asleep, I thought I need to do something about this. Like I cannot go on like this. And I first found the shamanic way, which is the shamanic dreaming, the lucid dreaming. And actually entering that state of dream to change the reality. And she, like the first woman I met here in Berlin, she brought me to understand that my soul is screaming for attention through my dreams, and that I'm pulled in a way that is going against my greatest desire and against my greatest purpose. And I thought, wow, and how wonderful that the soul can speak so loudly and so clearly to us. And how would it be if we all harnessed this potential to listen to our soul through the images, through the sounds, through the feelings that we get at night? And how would it feel to actually consciously enter that dream state and change our reality from within through dreams? So that was my awakening, really. And then I looked up different ways to study this. And I found Tokopa Turner, which is a really amazing dream teacher. She has a dream school in the US. Robert Moss, who's also a great dream teacher. He does a lot of shamanic work too. But then it wasn't accessible to me in that time. And I found another school in France, which is called Rêve d'éveil, where I did my formation as a coach. And it straight spoke to me. It's like a whole year of immersing into conscious dreaming, learning all about symbolism and how to read dreams and how to actually make conscious changes in your everyday life from your dreams. And I was like, wow, living a life of dreams. That's my dream. So this was really like, this was such a blast in my heart. And suddenly I could embrace my nightmares. I was like, wow, thank you. Thank you for showing me that this is what I want to do.
Wow. So at this time when you were having so many nightmares and your soul was calling out for you to change your direction and connect more with your purpose, would you mind sharing with us what you were doing in your life then and what your life was like and then how it changed?
Yes. So my life before, I will bless it now with all my words, because I'm also all about rewriting my story and my perception of my past. So my past has really been the perfect base for my expansion. It has been the perfect base for me to change from. And I was very caught up in my ego, in my need to please, in my need to be loved, in my need to become famous, but in a way that was like, I grew up with MTV. I grew up with all the Hollywood movies. I grew up with a mother that said that the most successful people are Hollywood actors, and I saw her love them on TV, and I thought, when I'm going to be a famous actress, then my mom will love me. So I had all this mindset about running after love, running after a success to finally be valued, whereas knowing how unconditionally valuable I am, and then allowing the success to unfold with what my soul truly, truly, truly wants to show in this world. So I feel like the being an actress and being famous came from the wrong place. It just drew me crazy. I was feeling unloved when I wasn't successful. I was constantly feeling judged or feeling in this kind of trap that I felt caught in. I wouldn't say society puts us in that trap. In the end, we put ourselves in that trap. I put myself in that trap because I had other friends who were in the acting school and didn't have that mindset, but I was in that trap. And now I feel like with that dream work and with those nightmares that really visited me so lovingly for me to awaken, I understand now that the love that I was seeking is in every second with me in my soul, with my relationship with my soul, with my relationship with my dreams, and also to accept the fact that, yes, I'm an actress, and of course I love to shine. Of course I love to give the audience my best and receive their love as an exchange, but I'm not dependent on that anymore at all. it's a turning, flipping around of consciousness to also say, I'm at service of my purpose. I'm at service. This is my gift. This is what I'm going to give to the world, instead of this is what I need to do in order to be loved. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does. And I love that you also touched on rewriting your story and the importance of that for you. So you're very conscious about how you refer to the place that you came from and how it got you to where you are now. Can you tell us a bit more about that, about rewriting your story? It's something I work on with my coaching clients a lot as well.
Brilliant. I find that one of the most powerful tools. So I asked myself, I had this moment when I traveled to Siberia. I decided to go to a place that is so far out and so not comfortable for me in the I love getting myself into challenging situations to grow, and Siberia was the place for me to go to grow. And when I was there and I was in the Siberian forest amongst beautiful trees and the potential bear around the corner, which I never really met, I thought, what if I suddenly now, struck by lightning, forgot my past completely? Like if like this, I forget everything. And then I'm asked, so Marion, tell us about you. What would I tell? What would I invent? What would I want to share? What are the focus? What's my focus points that I would mention as I tell my story? And I realized that I would talk about the empowerment of children. I would talk about the beauty of a loving, caring, present family. I would talk about motherhood and how important it is for mothers to be empowered and how wonderful it is to grow up with an empowered mother. I would talk about the promoting of the talents of the children and really giving them the freedom to explore so far that they can reach their full potential. I would talk about really conscious friendship and conscious puberty and how girls learn to love their bodies and love their menstruation and how we're awakened about sexuality at school. So suddenly this whole story became like, wow, this is my past. I can choose that this is my past. So, or I can choose that this story will influence me as a woman, as a mother, further in my future. And there are many, many, many details filling in. And I'm so excited because it's a continuous process of rewriting and finding new expansion in the story. And how can it get better than this? Always asking, how can it get even better than this?
Yeah, it's so important. And you mentioned traps earlier and the traps that we create for ourselves. And I also definitely feel that the stories we tell ourselves about our past, they are traps that we can create. And nothing that we talk about now in this present moment about the past is 100% true or 100% reality. It's always a perspective, and it's always something that we're building on, that our ego is influencing, and in the end that can just be a way to constrain ourselves. So taking that power and courage to look at your past and think about how you want to frame that story so that you can look at how it can positively influence you now and into the future is such a wonderful thing.
It is wonderful. And we have at any moment the choice. That's what I call freedom, actually. The choice to retell at any moment. So I'm consciously at the moment, daily, looking at also in my friendships, what's the story here? Where did we start? What are the focus points that I put when I remember that person? And how can I move it up? How can I vibrationally move up that story so that I can really focus on what's great? Because obviously I've been conditioned to look at the negatives and etc. And it's a deconditioning, deconstruction on a daily basis. Like, okay, here again. Now, what can we rewrite? What can we focus on? And this is a wonderful work for me as a person, and it really helps me as an artist too, to tell my stories.
Let's talk more about relationships, because I think it's such an important challenge that we come across as we're all on our journeys, becoming more conscious and connecting with our purpose. We make changes in our lives, and that affects the people around us. And some people come on that journey with us. Others are not on board with it, or not ready for it, or just see things differently. How have your relationships been affected?
Massively. I love the metaphor that Abraham Hicks uses with the radio station. And I feel like we're all tuned into a radio station. And there's the radio station we've been conditioned to be tuned in, to please. And then there's the real radio station, the station that our soul is on. And then once I found my true radio station, I realized that my true radio station doesn't really fit with the people that I would meet in the old radio station. So suddenly I felt a little lonely. I thought, oh, okay, so I'm here with these feelings, with these thoughts, and in the hope to find others to play with on that new radio station. So it's really about trusting. And I had these moments of falling back, obviously, because there was this missing part of like, but maybe I could just bring them along with me, bring them along into my radio station. But I realized that we're all on our individual journeys, and there is no better, no worse. There is no judgment in this. There is a chance to appreciate everybody where they're at, but knowing, is this good for me right now? Is this resonating with my soul radio station or with my old self radio station? And I can really fine tune. I can feel it in my body instantly, and the way I think and the way I see the world, in which station I travel right now. So this really affects my relationships. And on my soul radio station, my relationships are pure. They're easy, they're flowing, they're respectful, they're expansive, they're inspiring. I feel eager to discover. I feel playful like a child and still like focused like an adult. So it's exhilarating. And in my old radio station, I feel rather like I need to conform, to please. I need to be a certain way in order for things to go well. Yeah. So that's the fine tuning. And for me, the letting go and accepting that once the others from the past fine tune too, we might meet again. And if not, it's okay too. So it's really a process of letting go and embracing everybody where they're at.
So as you've moved to your soul radio station, you've let people go where it needs to happen with acceptance and non-judgment. What's that been like for you?
So I had moments of complete panic. And I feel like this is another vibration I've trained. It was the old vibration of like feeling guilty to abandon, probably. This was the story I was telling myself, that I would abandon them. And the new story was rewritten. And it's like, no, I'm saying yes to myself. So I'm actually, if I stay on that old radio station, keep on going, I'm abandoning myself, and I'm going to spend my whole lifetime with myself. So I cannot abandon myself in that way now and keep on going on that journey where I conform to others rather than, and then in the big perspective, I had that vision where like, okay, so there are this many people, let's say like close people, there are like 50 people that like vibrate in my daily routines. So if I try to conform to every person, like I'm split in 50. But if I only try to conform to my soul, I'm complete. And in that completeness, I can move forward. I can bring forward. I can succeed in all that I'm doing. So there was this absolute decision that there is nothing more important than to conform to my standards, to my soul. So the old story of guilt had to be rewritten and enter a new vibration of like appreciation for the time we've spent, appreciating their strengths and seeing them in their light, knowing that they're going to move forward in their way and that it's their choice, that we all have the choice. We all every second have the choice to tune into the best version of ourselves and our soul or to stay out. So it is my choice to tune into my soul radio station, and they have the choice to do the same. So that brought a lot of relief and relaxation in my system.
That's beautiful. I think something so many people can relate to. And it's something that is so hard but so rewarding when we tune into our own radio station and allow ourselves to be complete. And just because I think this is important to so many people, practically, how do you address that? Or how have you addressed that when you have a relationship you need to move away from? And it is, as you say, not about abandoning that person. It's about not abandoning yourself. How do you manage that in the best way you can without causing hurt that doesn't need to be caused?
So that's the tricky part. I can only set the intention that this decision to move towards myself and in that moment away from another will bring about the greatest rewards for both of us. And I accept that that person has the choice to feel hurt. That's her choice too. I have seen many different reactions. So I have seen the reaction of like, you are abandoning me, but probably it was just a response to my vibration. So I was still in that story of feeling guilty, and therefore the other person was mirroring my guilt and felt hurt. But once I moved up, I actually got the response of, thank you for being so honest. Thank you for being an example. Thank you for walking your path. Thank you. So it's really impressive how I got the response of my vibration. And at the same time, I knew the other person has a free will, has a free choice to be hurt or not. Just the same way that I have a free choice to be hurt or not if someone decides to walk away from me. And in the past, I have blamed and I have decided that it's the other person's fault and that my life is ruined. And with the acting, I had the huge capacity to become very dramatic. So, but now I have all these perspectives and I'm like, wow, I have all the rainbow colors to choose from. What do I want? I can say, thank you for walking your path. Thank you. And feel free and love the freedom of another just like I love my own, or not. So basically, I don't take it personally anymore. If someone is hurt, I know it's their choice.
That's an amazing place to be in. And it's definitely something I'm working on myself, I do still feel the guilt, I think, when I know I need to move away. I do move away, but I do still feel the guilt. So I will definitely be taking that away with me. If you enjoy Going Conscious, please subscribe for a new episode every Wednesday. If you think your friends and networks would benefit from listening, please share this podcast of fulfillment and freedom with them. And if you listen on Apple Podcasts, please rate and review. It's great to read what you think, and your support makes a big difference. Together, let's grow our courage and tools to transform and live the lives we really want to. As well as creating Going Conscious, I work as a transformation coach and conscious brand consultant. I'm on a mission to help holistically maximize conscious entrepreneurs to drive positive changes for themselves, others, and the planet. I can help you to transition and level up personally, and I can help your brand grow and make a bigger impact. To connect with me and find out more about how we can work together, find me on Instagram @NikkiTrott or on my website, nikkitrott.com. Please get in touch. I'd love to hear from you. And let's talk about your path of growth and development. So moving on, you have written 4 books this year, 2 TV pilots, and a feature movie, all this year, which is pretty incredible. I'm really interested to hear a bit more about your creative process and also how it might be influenced by dreams.
So this year, I feel like the dam of creativity broke open. And the water that has been waiting to flow for so long has just been unleashed. And I had these epiphany moments in February where I was in Brazil in a beautiful arts residency in the jungle, and where I was like struck by the genius. Like I could not describe it otherwise. I would sit there and look at nature and see these amazing blue butterflies. And suddenly I would feel the inspiration enter my crown. It was almost like a physical experience with like, okay, this is what needs to happen now. And the whole story would just unfold in front of my eyes. And all I had to do is to sit down and be led and be the vessel for this story. So I experienced this surrender, which was such a relief because it made everything so easy. Everything that I thought had to have a structure, was complicated, was planned beforehand. It was completely gone. I was just sitting there, allowing it through, and in less than 2 weeks, I had a whole script in front of me of 100 pages, which I, in my head, was not able to conceive in a year, the year before. So this surrender to spirit, God, creative life force, the universe, has been my way of giving myself completely to my creativity. And it is very much linked to the dream world. The whole process of writing 4 books was very connected to the dream world in the way that at night I would get inspiration in my sleep. During the day, I would lay down for 20 to 30 minutes, go into the theta state, allow the story to become more and more expanded, get more and more flesh, and then I would sit down, and the ease of the work was such that I thought the dream work, the dream world, dream work already prepared me to write with so less effort that this is now my way of going about with creativity, because it is in this deep, relaxed state that I get all the inspiration. So in my life, the more I dream, the more productive I'll be. And that's such a blessing. It makes it all so easy. And it's contra from all that I've learned of having to sit down and be productive and do this and do that. No, it's actually in the doing less and doing nothing in the sense of allowing it all to come to me, that I'll get 10 times done what I would usually get done. So this was my process with my writing this year.
Wow. It sounds like you're completely in flow in that state.
Completely, yes. It's a complete state of flow. Exactly. And the magic just keeps on occurring when I'm tuned into that soul radio and I'm getting all the answers for all the next steps, and one book leads to the next and one story leads to the next, and it feels like a never ending story. No, it feels like a bottomless well of inspiration that is constantly available to me. And when I sat there and thought, wow, if there is anything in the world that I will feel most appreciative about, it's that. Because as an artist, it's the greatest gift ever to have access to that space where it's endless. And I feel like my whole life from that space, I'll know what the next story is or what the next project is. And it's indescribably beautiful.
It sounds like there's a lot of trust in there as well.
I think that's the right word. And that's probably the greatest new rewriting of my life story. It's trust. I feel like children that have been raised in homes where they can't trust anyone, trust is probably the most important subject to bring forth. And I feel like I'm succeeding at it through the dream work, because it is so unpredictable that there is no other way for me than to trust. I cannot put it into a question mark because the answer will be even more metaphorical. And so if I just trust the metaphor and go with it, then the next door opens and the next door opens and the next door opens. And I feel like this is, it is completely about trust. Completely.
Is there anything else that's helped you get to this state of flow apart from the dreaming? Is there anything else in your life which has changed or which you've started to do?
Yes. I have been working with plant medicine since 4 years, and I feel like they have been great teachers on all levels. And actually, when I mentioned trust, for me, ayahuasca has been life-changing on that subject, because one of my ceremonies that I did 2017 in Peru, my intention was to trust. And she showed me how I became the earth completely. Like every cell of my body became one with the earth, and my bones became the roots of the trees, and my thoughts became the clouds, and my heart became the sun, and I became the whole system. And she was like, you are this system. How can you not trust the perfection of this system? And once I very deeply felt it, and my cellular memory got activated in a new way, I could deprogram the distrust into trust, and know that as I am the earth and I am part of this organism, and the earth trusts itself completely, why would I not trust what's coming to me in that sense? Yes.
Beautiful. So when we talk about your work, your books and TV pilots and feature movie, can you tell us more about the intention with that work and how it plays into your conscious journey?
Yes. So that's also going to be part of my 6 weeks program for writers that I'm going to launch next year, where it will be all about knowing from which vibration this story is being written from. So as artists, we again have the choice. We have the choice to write a story from a place of depression. We have the choice to write a story from a place of anger, from a place of resentment or blame. We have the choice to write a story that goes against something and then creates perhaps even more resistance, or we have the choice to tune into that soul radio, like I call it, and actually put on a new perspective onto everything that's happening. And that's my greatest intention. It's that no matter how dark my stories can get, or no matter how challenging in the contrast, for example, I'm writing the story at the moment of a young Afro-Brazilian girl in Rio who is living in the favelas with an alcoholic mother and an abusive father, but it's the way she deals with it that makes the whole difference. She is showing in her way of dealing with this situation, the world, that there are so many ways of overcoming this situation, or of actually becoming empowered through the darkness that is being presented. So it is my greatest intention to build a bridge between the old matrix and the new one, to look at what is, but then offer a new perspective that is probably coming, from my soul radio, which is that in the end, we have the choice at any second with whatever has happened to live a great life and to become an example for others. And another very important topic in my stories is actually new role models for women, because I was raised in the past, which is also a blessing because it gave me the inspiration that we need new role models, with role models that don't really fit for me as how women were portrayed. And I was like, okay, so how can I make this platform, which is a huge screen or TV or the stage, a space where women can completely reinvent themselves? And women, I mean also non-binary, men identifying as women, and including diversity in this whole new spectrum, again, using the rainbow and saying, okay, I can be all of this and I can be all the nuances in between, and to bring that to the table, which is for me one of the most exciting and exhilarating way to work, because I'm discovering new things about how I would like to be. How, for example, I had this thought not so long ago, but we haven't yet allowed a woman to be as funny, or a woman hasn't allowed herself to be as weirdly funny and extremely expressive in her face mimics as Jim Carrey. We don't have a pendant for that as a woman. And I asked myself why, and probably because it's not so pretty to work yourself out like this and be as wild in your mimics. And I was like, what if we break all of this and really invite women to show themselves also from the not so pretty side and give a freedom there? That's my conquest. That's my passion. I feel really passionate now talking about it. And I also have this vision of allowing more orgasmic states to be shown in a different way. So showing sex scenes in a more tantric and conscious way on TV, so that young girls know that it's not just the way we've been told it is to have sex. And yeah, all of this makes me like really, really excited about my work.
So creating new role models for women, which we absolutely desperately need. Can you tell us more about what those role models will include? What kind of qualities?
Yes. So I guess it's the qualities that I found in myself too. Now going conscious, it's courage, like the courage to speak out, to speak honestly, to stand in their power. And women that support other women rather than comparing themselves with other women, and role models for girls to say no for what they don't want. Also, like what I mentioned sexually, that they actually really get to speak up in a way that they can own their bodies and own their desires. So women that own their desires and own their boundaries. And role models of women that really do not care about what others think, and therefore have this free flow of expression, physically and verbally, that can bring about new new worlds, and new a lightness, exactly. I'd like these new role models to bring a lightness that they own, that they don't present to the world as a mask of like adapting to a demand that is next to them, but the lightness that really comes from within and lets them free flow with their lives and free flow with who they are.
I know you recently won a grant, and I think there are a few more in the mix as well. Can you tell us a bit about the work that you're actually creating for us now, and when and what we can see?
Yes. So I wrote the pilot for Magic, and Magic was in the finalists for a few awards and won a grant, and is currently it's being decided who is going to produce. So I cannot mention any names at the moment. And it's difficult also to mention any dates when you're in pre-production, but it's going to be clear on my website and it's going to be updated at any moment on my Instagram. But the story in Magic is female-led and non-binary led. And it's actually a vision of creating a new culture of filmmaking. So the big vision is to create a TV series where we work holistically on set, where we work holistically behind the scenes, and where we introduce the conscious connection between the team members during the work, which is also something that I've been really longing for in the film work. It's that really everybody is valued the same way, whether it's a star or the technicians, that everybody comes together and gets into the same vibration as the project and therefore creates something consciously together and everybody feels part of it rather than just a servant of something that they don't really care about. So this is what I'm currently envisioning, and it's still in the dreaming phase. So the details are filling in, but I know the direction.
And so through this incredible journey of going conscious, which you've shared with us, how has what success means changed for you, and what does it mean now?
That's a very good question. I feel like success for me is a state of being rather than something that I seek. Success is accessible at any moment. So I can have a successful conversation. I can have a successful day. I can have a successful meal. I can have a successful vision. I can have a successful feeling. I can have a successful everything. It's a state of being, probably. For me, it's not measurable in the old ways where I would say, if this happens, then I'm successful. Success is rather something that I can find in every moment and be in every moment. And working with the law of attraction, I know that being success attracts success. So if I acknowledge this successful conversation that I'm having with you right now, success is imminent. Does that make sense? So it's more like, yeah, that has really, really changed. I'm realizing as I speak right now, it's such a beautiful change, such a relief.
That's wonderful. I love how you describe success as a state of being rather than something that you seek. And yes, with the law of attraction, by being success, you attract more of it, but it's something that's there for you at every moment to access.
Yeah, it's a feeling, isn't it? It's like, for me, it's a feeling of expansion, of being sure, of clarity, of knowing, and I feel so successful. For example, I realized it when I teach. I teach at university, I teach creative writing. And when I see the eyes of my students light up, inspired, in line with their soul radio, I feel so successful. I feel like the world belongs to me, because I'm like, wow, I just inspired all of these beautiful beings to love their creativity, to go off and write a book. And that's, wow. I feel like I can really draw from this event to remember what success is.
Amazing. So as we come to the end of our time together today, is there a key takeaway or a message from our conversation that you'd like to share?
So right now, I feel like my soul radio is really eager, really excited, really inspired. And I feel like a key takeaway for me is probably to speak more about all that I've been sharing with you today, and that your questions were so on point and that I'd like to elaborate on that even more, that I'd like to go deeper on these questions for myself and share them in any way that I can. For example, when I teach, or that these questions will vibrate with me. So I'm really appreciative of how well you structured this call and this talk. And that's my key takeaway.
Thank you. And thank you for everything you've shared. Is there a book that you've read recently that you've loved that you'd like to share with us?
Yes. I read Life After Life from Jim B. Tucker. So it's not a novel. It's not a story. It's a research book, and it has absolutely blown my mind. It's about young children between 3 and 5 that report about their past lives and have accurate details of the name and address and family members of the past lives. And for some children, these family members are still alive from their past life. So this book absolutely changed my whole perspective on everything, especially questions like racism, etc. Because there's this one example of this young boy that is born in a really wealthy, white American environment. And at 3 to 4 years old, he sits at the dinner table with his parents and says, well, now I'm white and rich, but before I was black and poor. And starts to talk about the past life where he was black and poor, and his name and where he lived and how he died, and everything was accurately to be traced about this identity that he was in his previous life. So I was like, wow. So every life we have another color, we have another background, we choose what we want to experience. And therefore all these question of racism becomes, for me, it becomes so absurd because if everybody has probably been everything or can be everything, then we can really rethink that whole question. And I find that fascinating. So that book is brilliant.
Wow, it sounds fascinating. Thank you. So lastly, where's the best place for listeners to find you online?
So online, I have my website, www.queenchannel.com, which is where my dream work is being explained and all the programs can be booked. And I also work with Camilla Sternberg and Mama Wellbeing. So that's also a place where I can be found as a practitioner. And as an artist, I currently have another website, which is my name, www.marionbott.com, which is where I promote myself as an actress and as a writer. But I'm in the state of bringing these two pages together and create more integrity in everything that I offer. And so I'm looking forward to visitors and to see you in the dream world.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Marion.
Thank you.
Marion described how we can embrace the busy mind as a tool to help us relax. This is such valuable advice. Rather than pushing away thoughts and being judgmental of the monkey mind we can all experience, we can surrender and use it as a tool to practice presence. Each time a thought comes, and there can be many in a row sometimes, you can see it as a gift to use to deepen your meditation practice and experience of presence. We talked about how in relationships, the most important thing is to not abandon yourself. This is a challenge that I see most people around me go through at some point, clients, friends, and myself. When we are open and truly honest, only the right path can unfold, and Marion reminds us to stay in our high vibration and let go of guilt. Equally, it's so important to treasure and nurture our unconditional friendships, perhaps our longest friendships, though I don't think length should be the main measure of depth, but our friends who are like family, where we put the effort in to work through bumps. Again, with openness, honesty, and our true high vibrations. I love how when you hear about Marion's journey, The exploration of her dreams not only unlocked her soul's purpose in her acting and writing work, but all the tools she learned also brought her to an incredible place in her creative process and led to so much quality output. She surrendered to her journey somewhere unknown and now is reaping the benefits. She has quality, conscious, award-winning work flowing from her true being. This is a great reminder of how sometimes we don't know why we're being taken down a path, but when we listen, when we follow, it all makes sense in the end. I experienced the same thing when I was consulting fashion and lifestyle brands and felt called to study transformational life coaching. This seemed so far away from my then current business, and I didn't know where it would take me, but I knew I had to do it, and I'm so glad I followed it. Now I bring my coaching skills together with my entrepreneurial and brand consulting background to serve other conscious entrepreneurs and their businesses. It makes complete sense, and these two parts complement each other beautifully, but I couldn't have seen that clearly at the time I was deciding to walk what I felt like was a very different path. I think this is a great reminder that really we do all need to just trust what our intuition tells us and allow our path to unfold. Sometimes we'll be surprised. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe now. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, please leave a 5-star rating and short review. If you think people you know might benefit from listening to Going Conscious, please share it with them. I know I get much of my inspiration from podcasts which are shared with me. For all episodes, our library and more, visit goingconscious.com. Your support to spread this positive message of fulfillment and freedom means so much. As well as hosting Going Conscious, I help conscious entrepreneurs to transition and unleash their power and purpose with my transformation coaching and conscious brand consulting work. Discover more on Instagram @NikkiTrott or on my website, nikkitrott.com. I'd love to hear from you and to talk about your goals, questions, or how we can work together. And if I don't hear from you before then, see you next Wednesday on the next episode of Going Conscious. As always, live your freedom.